A battle of two decimated top 10 teams in the Sunset League, a South Coast League game with major playoff implications, and we'll see if Santa Margarita can keep it rolling or JSerra can rebound in the Trinity League. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to OCVarsity.com. It's time to talk about this week's big football games. I'm Steve Fryer here with Dan Albano and Carlos Arias. It's the Brian Wilson thing.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And let's take a look at the Sunset League game first. That's Thursday, Newport Harbor against Los Alamitos at Veterans Stadium. You know, Los Al has been missing Nick Richardson, great running back, probably an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. And the same thing over at Newport Harbor with Buzzy Yoyokama. Yeah. He's been out too for a long time. Looks like he's not going to be able to come back until maybe, you know, week 10 at the best. And also Los Al's missing a great linebacker, Joe Locker, who Coach Barnes said is the heart and soul of their defense. Now, I've got a little maybe information here. I talked to John Barnes. He said Nick Richardson is day to day. I think Thursday's the day he comes back. I'm picking Los Al to win. Dan?
Well, you know, another injury too is, and that's a good information, Mr. Fryer. What we expect from you. Another injury is, of course, Austin Rios, Newport Harbor quarterback. Yeah. He didn't play last week in a pretty solid victory against Huntington Beach. Right. You know, there's been a lot of injuries on both sides. You know, and this rivalry is great. It's been really close the last 4 years. The point margins have been 2-4-1-3 just in the last 4 years, and Newport Harbor's won the last 3 in a row. So they're winning tight games. Newport showed that they can win on the road against a quality team. Example, Loyola. So I don't see why Newport can't get the victory. I think Drew Dillers did a great job. We'll be interested to see. You know, Rios didn't play last week against Huntington because of concussion, and they had Cole Blower play well. Drew Dillers running it well for Yokoyama. So I think the Sailors get the victory.
And also, I'll tell you, Rios will play tomorrow probably.
Be interesting,
so it looks even better for your prediction, which I disagree with.
All the inside dope, Steve. Jeez, I was going to go with Los Al before I knew it.
We need to get a cell phone, Carlos.
I'm still using telegraphs.
That's okay.
But anyway, I was going with Los Al before I found out Nick Richardson, my favorite running back in the county, was possibly going to be back. So I'm definitely going with the Griffins now, man.
All right. Well, there's the predictions there.
They haven't played well this year, so a lot of times they've been banged up. They haven't put it all together. But this is looking like a big game in the Sunset League, Pac-5. You know,
they're fighting for their lives. Both teams are fighting for their lives.
Both teams are. Yeah, really, especially when you know that there is no at-large berth in the Pac-5 division, which brings us to the Dana Hills San Clemente game. That's Friday. And, you know, Dana Hills got walloped last week by Mission Viejo. Had the lead for a while. First team to ever have a lead on Mission.
I watched that game on Cox Television.
Yeah.
And it was a battle for a big chunk of that game.
And then what happened?
Then Mission dropped the hammer on them. But I'm telling you, but they didn't slow down Trent Mason. They didn't slow down Chris Kearney. I mean, so was San Clemente going to
down Mission?
Nobody slows down Mission.
Nobody slows down Mission.
At one point, they just determined, okay, we're dropping the hammer.
Yeah. So we got Dana San Clemente. Dana, you know, lost that first league game. They're 0-1 in league. What, 3-4, I think it is overall. And then San Clemente, they got a win over Trabuco. In the end, they were like struggling with Trabuco in that game, and like Mission did, they kind of ran away with it. I like San Clemente. I think they're just a superior team overall. You know, Dana has some great players, Trent Mason, Chris Kearney, but a lot of those guys go both ways. And I think, you know, in that tough South Coast League, that's an awful lot to ask. So I'm going with San Clemente. Danny?
Yeah, this is another giant game. I mean, you know, playoff implications. You know, last year Dana won, and it was big for Dana. It was like their first victory over San Clemente in many years. So that was huge. But I think San Clemente playing at home is going to bounce back. Travis Wilson, and I know Coach Johnson was very concerned about Trent Mason at Dana. So you know, he's a tough matchup for anybody. But I think trying to get the victory at home.
I'm going to ask you a quick question: is Wilson better than Chase Reddick was?
Yes.
You know, I haven't seen Travis play this year, so I'll have to. But I was one of the guys. I was high on Chase Reddick. I thought he was.
The reason I asked that,
I thought he was a good quarterback.
Reddick play for Boston College over the weekend.
I saw that on TV too. I know he is
got
good.
a great arm. I saw him play a great game.
This kid's better than him.
Travis is better.
Gee, that's amazing. Okay, what is your prediction?
Okay, my prediction is San Clemente should win. They got the edge on everything, and I'm taking Dana Hills.
Yeah.
I just really like Trent Mason. I saw what they did last week against Mission. If you can do that against Mission's defense, what's San Clemente going to do to stop them?
So I like it. I always like the upset predictions. Okay, on to the next game. That's Santa Margarita JSerra. That's at Saddleback College, which is what the home field for both teams. 7:30 game Friday. Saddleback College. JSerra last week got off to the you know, the fast start, you know, 7-zip, and then all of a sudden, boom. Servite 41-7, pounded them pretty good. And then Margarita had the pretty inspirational victory over Orange Lutheran. Coach Harry Welsh back, just, you know, what, less than 2 weeks after prostate cancer surgery. I think Santa Margarita keeps rolling in this game. You know, JSerra beat Santa Margarita last year. It was the first league victory for JSerra, pretty big thing. I think JSerra is better than they were last year, but I still think Santa Margarita is on a roll. Dan?
Yeah, JSerra is getting better. You know, they are getting better. Last year they won 14-12. You know, it was only a couple of years ago. It was, you know, Santa Margarita beat JSerra 62-0.
Yeah.
But you know, the big thing I think that happened last week for JSerra was that the quarterback Jake Hall. You know, after the game, Coach Hardigan thought he had a concussion. He wasn't sure, so that's huge. You know, and I was a little suspicious of JSerra in terms of, you know, their play selection as they got down and that game started to slide away from them. I was wondering if they were, you know, why they didn't get diversified. What else did they have to offer? And I wonder if they were kind of keeping things intact, you know, close to the vest because of this big game. But I think you know, Santa Margarita, especially on defense, is too tough for them right now, and
they're fast.
They're looking for some South County payback. The Eagles are, so I think you know, they want this game pretty badly. They're going to go to 2-0, Santa Margarita.
Carlos,
I'll tell you what. I was at that game last week, and I heard what Harry told, you know, his players after the game, and I would dare anybody to sit there and try to, you know, keep your eyes dry. I mean, it was pretty amazing. He's very inspirational. I was totally impressed. I've been impressed by Santa Margarita all year.
Yeah.
I think JSerra needs a tougher non-league schedule to get ready for Trinity League, because everybody in the Trinity League plays really tough schedules.
Yeah, they played Damien.
Lights out.
You know, Damien won last week, big victory.
I don't even know what division.
They're in the
Damien's
Inland Division.
There you go.
Inland Division.
All right.
Let me ask. Now you've seen JSerra play.
Yes, sir.
Where would they fit in if they were in like the Empire League or the Century League?
Oh, they're good. They're outstanding. They got good players. I really like this Jody Kipler.
Sure.
He's a number 4 senior.
Kipler brother.
Yeah, he's got a brother, number 3. But I think they got this kid, Jonavon Williams. He's a junior athletic guy. He's got an early offer from San Diego State. He's a great athlete, but he didn't barely touch the ball on offense against Servite. They got to get him the ball. You know, he's a good defensive back for sure, but you know, if they want to have a chance against Santa Margarita, he's going to have to be running some reverses, some slip screens.
Get him the ball.
He's got to get the ball. Put him at running back.
Santa Margarita might win the whole thing in the Trinity League, man. I mean, they're looking that good.
plays really hard. Coach Thomas said he was impressed with how hard JSerra plays. So they would be contending for a playoff spot in the Empire League.
Okay, well, those are the games we're looking at. Of course, we'll have updates and coverage of these games and everything else going on in Orange County football. It's another big week. We're in the league, and you can keep track of these games and everything else here at ocvarsity.com, where we've got you covered.